I'm just going to go live with that. There we go. Going live. Going live. We are live. Focus. Focus. There we go. I think we're there. Hello, everyone. Late. Shame cube. By a couple of minutes, it's fine. All right, hold on. I've got to stretch. I didn't stretch before going live. Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. How's it going? You all looking good over there, Caradog?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, I didn't want to walk
Okay.
across if you were delivering a line.
Oh, that would have ruined the shot completely. We would have had to just start again. Anyway, hello, everyone. How are you all doing? Good afternoon, everyone. How about at least listing the steps used to replace a hard drive in an Optane system? Oh. Rip out the hard drive, rip out the Optane drive, put in an SSD. Profit. Right, so, okay, topic ideas. Am I on the latest OBS version? I haven't upgraded to the latest OBS on this system just because I forgot. I'd have done that today if I'd remembered. But I got the new OBS on my home computer that I streamed to Twitch from on Thursday, and my first reaction was, ugh. So, yeah, they seem to have done that thing where they've just made the entire UI drastically less space efficient. Like, yeah, they've Android 12'd it basically. So just everything that used to take up that much space on my screen now takes up that much space on my screen. Thanks.
This is the entire reason why I can operate with 0 scaling on a 4K monitor at 27 inches.
Yeah, because modern UIs are just too bloody big, aren't they?
You just change the font size to size 20, and you've actually got a UI that's wantable. Yeah.
I'll carry on this in a moment. Justin Parrish says, topic idea, Zen 4 and the Corsair Flex displays. We'll come back to that one as well. Keep your topic ideas in mind. If we forget, then just say it again, preferably when we're coming up to the end of something. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not quite sure what the benefits of the new OBS version are yet. I need to read the case notes. However, everyone is talking about it, but I think that's mainly just because it looks slightly different. But yeah. My very first reactions to it, though, are no, just because, everything is just harder now. So, yeah, not impressed, if I'm honest. So, right. Let's see. Talk about Miss Grokkins. No.
Who or what is that?
It was a euphemism I made the other day about everyone who starts a local computer shop. They start out with the idea of They start out with the idea of, I'm going to make my own computer repair shop and I'm going to build, repair and maintain high-end gaming and boutique PCs. And a couple of months down the line, it's a case of Miss Groggins is bringing her Packard Bell back in because she's installed a virus on it, and also the man from Windows Office called up and scammed her for more money. So yes, there's what you thought you were going to do in your computer shop and what you actually end up doing in your computer shop. So, yeah. Paul Turner says, you would not walk across the shot if I were Christian Bale.
I would
It's
be...
an older meme, but it checks out.
It's also just a case where I'd be reasonably impressed if I was doing work with Christian Bale.
This is true.
In your shop.
Yeah. Ben Laird, thank you for the $5. Hi, all from Scotland. How's it going, Ben? How you doing?
We are, in fact, building a new computer.
Are we?
No, well, for Christian Bale.
For Christian Bale, yeah. Anyway. Okay, so.
Do you know what I can't find for OBS?
What? A screenshot?
Patch notes?
Oh, I see.
Release notes?
Oh.
Update information of any kind?
Don't know. Background is getting a bit darker. Well, we're not terribly well lit anyway. I'm going to we've got an extra light here that I'm going to switch on just to get some more light on us. We tend to underlight the podcast a lot just because we're lazy. There we go. Yeah, we tend to underlight the podcast just because we're lazy and we can't be bothered to move all of the lights around. However, yeah, it's studio lights work. There's a reason why everyone uses them. So, like, again, we've got a face light and we've got this light, but we need another one over there as well because now the left side of our faces is dark. So
it's okay. I will solve this problem
just by facing that direction for the entire stream. Very well, and staring off into the distance somewhere. Anyway, high-end PCs are overrated. You're just saying that because you can't run Linux on anything that was made before 2010. Right, Floor Lamp? Right, what's the bottle in the back? It's a bottle of red wine.
Oh, that bottle, yep. Yes.
I deliberately placed it on the back so people would look and go, oh, there's a bottle up there. Why is it there? Right, let's see.
OBS now supports 10-bit and HDR video encoding.
Oh, interesting. That's kind of a big deal. It's not something that I care about, but in terms of actual functionality, that's kind of a big deal because how do you...
Interesting color space recommendation for HDR.
Can you do live HDR?
I don't see why not.
I thought that was something that had to be done in post.
No. Because that captures HDR live and stuff like that.
Fair enough.
HDR is just talking about is effectively a container.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you have a camera that has a suitably wide exposure range, then yeah, it will be HDR. The only reason HDR in and of itself exists, kind of thing, is because of the inherent limit in display contrast and so on that we had beforehand anyway.
Yeah.
If we had always used OLED, for example, I'd imagine that HDR would never have actually been a thing because everything would have been HDR kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a solution to a problem in a sense.
Yeah, HDR is in fact closer to how things are supposed to look because we are now breaking the limitations of display technology up to this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting.
But also it's kind of a case of, certainly also the fact of the dynamic range of cameras for stills and video has been very limited anyway for a long time. Because there's been no requirement to make it wider because there's been no way of displaying it.
Yeah.
Etc. Chicken, egg, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Fair enough. Wild Floor Lamp did not take my bait very well. Video Vlog says, my girlfriend loves your videos and calls you the Tune Man. Thanks to the intro song. Awesome. That song, that is, people often ask me about the intro tune. It's a doodle, so it's just an unfinished melody that was made but not made into a full song by Synthis, who did a lot of the music that I used to use in my videos. So yeah. It's an unreleased one though, so there is no complete song for it. A lot of people say, so, oh, what's the song? Where can I download it? But there is no complete song. There's just a 2-minute sample. So yeah. Let's see. Right, so let's go into stuff. Will YouTube stream HDR? I don't know if it does at the moment, but it will probably gain that support for it.
At some point.
Yeah, because you can play back HDR, although
apparently
not very well, I think.
Apparently. I've tried twice, I think, to view LTT's HDR test videos.
Yeah.
And both times they have not been HDR.
Yeah. Because
they have played fine. They just have not HDR'd.
Yeah.
And I'm just like...
Linus Tech Tips have got a good video about the problem with HDR on YouTube at the moment because they tried really hard. They really wanted to go just HDR everything. But it never happened. And loads of people were going, oh, what happened to the HDR videos? And they did a video where they explained how they had geared up for it, but it just was not functional on YouTube.
To the point where they have two £35,000 mini LED HDR mastering monitors.
Yeah, that's it. So yes, it's I think YouTube will get support for it. Whether it will work effectively or not is another question. I mean, I'm not in a desperate hurry for it. Well, we do want this to roll in because HDR on LCD is so far just not very good unless you have a top-end TV. However, like right now, there's a massive wave of OLED displays for laptops and monitors coming out. Yeah, and I'm really stoked about this. Like, I'm not jumping on this bandwagon quite yet. However,
well, no, you've only just made monitor purchasing anyway.
Yeah, that's it.
Monitor.
However, I'm super excited because it means the next monitors that I buy are 99% likely to be OLED and be all of the wonderful things that come with OLED.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see that we're finally getting OLED everything.
Yeah, I'm going to make people really annoyed, I think, is a statement, and say, so I've got Spider-Man Remastered, and I was playing around with that, and I set it into a perfectly V-synced 30 frames per second mode. It looked so good because it was playing on an OLED, and there was no motion blur there was no pixel response delay, nothing. It looked so good. It looked like most monitors at 60 FPS because it was so crisp, because the transitions were actually on time and all of that. And I was just like,
yeah, because
that was it was impressive how good it looked given it was 30 FPS. Then I went to 120 and just went, this is so much better in motion.
Yes.
But like the actual image still retained that crisp, sharp quality.
Yeah.
And it didn't just become a horrid, hurty mess.
The advantages of OLED are more than just the contrast, and more than just the frame rate, but how quickly the response time is. So just like I mean, we had this conversation a while back where we were talking about high refresh, and you were like, yeah, my TV is 120 FPS, which is nothing to write home about, but 120 hertz OLED is way better than, subjectively, way better than 165 hertz LCD, because the pixels are responding so much faster that it's a better high refresh rate. Yes, it's refreshing slower, but because the image actually changes faster, you can see
the motion clarity. The actual motion clarity is much higher.
Because this is true. Because like I've got high refresh monitors. The first set that I bought that I then immediately got rid of were 165 hertz, but the pixel response time was so poor that it was just a smeary mess at 165 hertz. And I was like, I can see that it's updating fast, but I'm getting absolutely no benefit from it at all because the panel can't physically change color that fast.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that is missed by a lot of people, is the fact of it doesn't matter whether we've got 500 hertz monitors or 10,000 hertz monitors. If the pixel itself is only switching in 13 milliseconds, because the actual image will constantly just be a blur, because the pixels will never be the correct color for each frame.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing, and it's why I'm pleased that more stuff is getting OLED, because OLED has a true sub 1 millisecond response time, as opposed to these monitors that say millisecond response time and then take 9 or 10.
And there's a really interesting case study for this as well, because there's an interesting case study for this as well, because I don't know if you spotted it yet, but NZXT have just released a monitor.
I've seen nothing other than the fact that LTT did a video saying that they've done one.
That's right. Yeah, they did a short circuit unboxing of it, and the TLDR is like, as a monitor, it's okay. It's got some cool features and it's got some shortcomings, but the main issue with it was certainly the 32-inch VA panel. They had a 32-inch VA and a 27-inch IPS, and the 32-inch VA was a smeary mess. It was a mess.
Yeah, the only people who make VA panels worth buying are Samsung Electronics.
Yeah.
And they only sell them in their Neo G7 and G9 line.
Yeah.
And even those monitors fall apart above 165 hertz refresh, because you start getting scan lines on them and picture flicker and stuff like that.
Yeah. And this NZXT,
and it's just like,
the NZXT 32-inch VA panel had massive issues, and it's just like you could probably you could tune it into a usable state, and they said, so, we could run it at 120 hertz and stuff like that, but it's a case of you've just bought and it's not the most expensive monitor in the world. It seemed very reasonably priced for the brand name and the feature set. They weren't asking Corsair prices, kind of thing. When I can't remember how much it was, but when they listed the price, I was like, yeah, for that's a mid-range monitor price.
By counter, I've no idea what price it actually is.
Yeah.
But I'm going to counter without knowing the price, and then you can let me know an idea.
Yeah.
Gigabyte had the M27Q and the M32Q.
Yeah.
Sub $200 for the 27, sub $500 for the 32.
Yeah, and what refresh rate?
165, actually good.
Wow, that's astonishingly cheap.
Right?
Yeah,
you have that as a monitor option. I'm just like,
I'm expecting to pay $350 to $400 for a good 27-inch high refresh monitor, like with an IPS display.
Yeah.
Or at least a very good VA panel. However, these days for me it's IPS or go home because the colors are just so much nicer. But yeah. Hi Paul Daniels, by the way, how's it going? We're not ignoring you guys per se. We're just getting into waffle, and it's difficult to waffle and read the chat at the same time. But yeah.
I'm just trying to find a UK price for the M27.
Up the mic like Carol. Whose mic is low? Sound check. Whose mic was low? So yes.
M27 in the UK, 270 to 300.
That's a very good bang for buck. Yeah. Yep.
M27 even. I don't know what I said.
Yeah. It's and this also ropes in a lot of people were also talking about what are your thoughts on Corsair's new flexible monitor?
I like
Do you
it.
think it's cool?
Certainly as a concept, I very much like it.
Yeah.
Because it does mean that you can have like a 3-monitor setup where the far right is curved, the far left is curved, that bit's flat, that bit's flat, that bit's flat.
Yeah.
And just kind of setups like that.
For the people who haven't seen this, Corsair released a was it 32-inch?
Something around that size.
It was the 32-inch ultra wide, but was it OLED?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a flexible OLED, and the gimmick is that the sides of the screens can flex inwards independently. So you can have a curved monitor, or you can have just a curve on one side but not on the other, or depending on what you're doing, if you want to have an immersive gaming experience, you can have it curved, or if you were presenting, or if there were two people, you could flatten it out so it's flat and it's not focused on one person and stuff like that. And very, very interesting concept. I think a lot of people looked at that and was like, that's a gimmick. And I think a lot of people are probably going to set it to one thing and then never touch it. But I think the interesting is it's one monitor that is very versatile for a lot of situations.
Yeah, I just also like that it exists.
Oh, it's 45-inch, yeah, because ultra wide, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not particularly certain that it's useful or anything like that specifically as a mass market product, but it's very useful as a product that exists on the market. For instance, and there's a difference between those two statements. As a case of something that is useful to the market and something that is mass market useful.
Yeah.
And kind of, I like that it's there because it's just a case of it gives you that flexibility in setup. And if it's then a case of maybe in a couple of years' time, we have like 77-inch monitors that are flexible like that and so on as well. You can have them for display things and stuff like that and on your desk. And if it supports proper picture by picture and things like that, you could use it as 2 separate display inputs and things like that.
Yeah.
And you can start having curved bits and things like that.
Yeah.
Especially if you can do 2-directional curving. So you can have the top of it curve down or the bottom of it curve up slightly.
That's interesting, yeah.
And stuff like that. That's where I think it would be, at the end, would be very interesting.
On a similar note, on a related thing, which I think is where this is going as well, is the NZXT monitor. As standard, it's supplied with no stand, and you buy the stand as an accessory. So you can buy it with either an arm stand or a desk stand. And the reason why I say that's interesting is I think part of me was a bit like sort of, well, that's one of the things that's making it slightly cheaper because they're now getting you for the stand as well, kind of thing. Well, I'm not sure what the stand costs are, but I digress. That's not what this was about. the point being, we seem to be getting to a point now where, certainly on enthusiast monitors, they're putting a focus on an expectation that the monitor will be part of a setup, instead of just every monitor being. Most monitors are designed with the expectation that you will just have one of these in front of you and that's it. Whereas now they seem to be moving in a direction of they're expecting people to have multiple monitors, and they're bringing in ideas on how they can make a product that fits into a setup kind of thing.
It's like the LG View monitors, where there's a single arm, and then the monitors on it, and they're vertically stacked, and effectively is a fixed unit, is stuff like that. And just like the LG Ergonomic is basically the same thing. You can only buy it with an arm mount on an arm, but just stuff like that, and just kind of a step further from the traditional stand. Dell have obviously been doing for years their 2-arm and 3-arm stands. So you can get an actual stand that's freestanding, rests on a desk, but holds 3 monitors. And stuff like that. So it's nice to see that that's spreading a bit, and we're getting more ideas on things like that for setups and stuff like that. And stuff needs to be a bit less janky.
Ruru2M says monitors smaller than 36 inches don't need to be curved.
Depends on it's a viewing area question more than actual panel size.
As someone who runs 27-inch monitors at home, I have had curved monitors, which were the crap VA panel ones. Then I got rid of those and got IPS flat monitors. And after I switched from the curved ones to the flat ones, I did actually miss the curve. It wasn't a deal breaker. It was fine having them flat, but the curve was actually quite nice.
The curve is something like a 2200R though, isn't it?
No, it's 1000. It was 1000R.
Is it?
Yeah, on the 27s that I had.
Really?
Yeah, or 1200. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because that would.
I'm going to look at the box because you're making me doubt myself now.
Yeah, only because it looks a lot less extreme than that, which is why I was saying that it's reasonably okay on that size.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the Samsung monitors, because Samsung did monitors that were really, really curved at reasonably small.
Oh, I can't see the box
looked
for it
awful.
Now. Losing interest, lost interest, leaving.
Yeah, no, okay.
Nope.
I would have expected those to have been an awful lot softer, like 18 or 2000.
No, I think it's 1200. I know it's
surprising.
Yeah, it was certainly in the low thousands, which I believe is quite a tight, because a lower number is a tighter curve. Isn't it?
Because it's a radius. It's the radius of the circle that the monitor would make.
Yeah, it was definitely a low one. However, suffice to say, though, as I say, with 2 of them side by side, you would have the bezels were completely flat on, and then it would curve around pleasantly. And it would curve around to exactly the amount that you would, if you have 2 monitors, you obviously put them in a V formation in front of you so they face towards you. And the curve made for a perfect V formation.
You're one of those who sits in the bezel, aren't you?
Yes. I don't sit in front of one with the other to one side. I don't like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was realising as you said that, yes.
Although that much being said, I think I'm actually going to change my habits, because when I'm gaming at home, although at home I haven't been comfortable, and I've been finding myself gaming like this, where I'm looking to the left all the time, and that's been getting uncomfortable. But I think that's because I'm actually closer to the right-hand screen. I'm not dead centered, because I didn't used to have this problem, and I think something has offset me on the desk or something. But whatever. Anyway, the point is, what a freak, says Paul Daniels. The point is that the curved ones, the curve was actually very pleasant. When I switched to the flat ones, I actually found that the far corners were just that little bit further away, and I was like, that is actually, they feel far away now. And like, I'm nitpicking here. This wasn't a problem in the slightest.
No, but it's very interesting.
Yeah. So when people say sort of, are curved monitors worth it? Are they good? I don't think it should be a factor of whether you choose a product or not. If it's curved, it's curved. If it's not, it's not. However, I don't think it's good or bad. Basically, if they're curved, I think that those are quite nice.
Yeah. If you
However,
had,
I would not pick a monitor based on whether it is curved or not.
would you pick a curved one over a flat one of an otherwise identical monitor?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think the answer to that is yes, because that makes it obviously with a curved monitor, it is much more focused toward a single viewer. So you're like sort of, so other onlookers can't see the monitor head on anymore. But it's like, when was the last time you sat in front of a computer with someone else? That's just not something you do, especially if it's your personal computer at home kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a
especially if it's your personal computer at home and you live alone.
Yes. and just suddenly a voice from behind you is just like, could you just twist the monitor slightly? Anyway,
as there's his head looking through a suspended ceiling.
Specifically yours, anyway, so yeah, I think I would probably go curved again.
Ceiling cat.
Yeah, I would probably go curved again. However, like I say, the IPS ones I got were flat, and I was like, I'm going to lose the curve. And I didn't miss the curve in the slightest. However, the curve is a nice thing to have. So, yeah. Yes.
I would need to see it and actually use it, but I don't think I'd like it. I don't think. But I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. Yeah, I was going to say, where was it? Yeah, Orun just said, are you sponsored by Mr. Sheen? I'm just like, the label's not facing the right direction. No, we're not. We're not sponsored by Arctic Coffee either. Or by Henry Weston. Call me, Westons. Yeah. On a note, I want to crack one of these open. Do you want the vintage or do you want the signature? Yeah, or by Co-op. Why? We've got too many bottles on hand.
I'll try the complex with a smooth finish.
All right.
I don't know exactly what that means, but okay.
This one's slightly stronger. That's a 6.8. This one's the 8.2.
Oh, should we do it this way around then?
Very well then. Yeah. Well, that's part of the reason why I thought I'd try the signature, just because it would give that vintage flavour without the 8.2%. So yeah.
Graham is sponsored by Caradog.
Let's see, where were we? Okay, right. Let's move on to something else. So that's this one.
Yes, I think very quickly to round out my general monitor rant is people buying high refresh rate monitors that actually can't do the refresh rate they're supposedly at.
Yeah.
That and the fact that those products make it to market, and then the fact that you need to have overdrive settings so high that there's inverse ghosting all up the wazoo to get to the refresh rate. And I was like,
yeah, certainly. Again, when I got my second set of monitors, and I went from the sorry. You're just like, I guess I won't have mine then. Yeah, when I went from the VA to the IPS panels, I the first thing I did was I put one of each on my arm, so I had them side by side.
On my arms, just yes, lovely.
On the monitor arm, you bint. Anyway, so brought up the UFO test on each one, and the difference was very stark. But then the other thing as well is, on the VA panels, the backlight, the VA ones, they had backlight strobing, but it just didn't work though. It was just not functional.
Yeah, I even played around with it for like 20 minutes, just going, can I find a setting which means that these monitors actually enable the setting that's supposedly there?
And I was very upset because also I bought those monitors because I bought the Asus one specifically because you could have G-Sync and backlight strobing at the same time. That was their party trick.
The problem was I couldn't even get the backlight strobing to work without VRR.
Precisely. So yeah. However, the IPS ones did have backlight strobing. That did make a tremendous difference to the quality of the image. But then again, if you've got OLED, you don't have this problem in the first place.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, is everyone's just like, oh, OLEDs aren't as bright. And it's just like, my dude, you lose like 50% of the brightness as soon as you turn on backlight strobing, and you basically need backlight strobing on high refresh monitors. It's not optional. Like they do look like trash without it.
I sit in front of my LG TV
Yeah.
with that on full brightness with a 70% LED studio light,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, brightness is fine.
I'm surprised you don't get fatigued by that. I would get fatigued.
It's a softbox. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, but I mean, I guess it might be that because it's a big screen, it's all of the brightness is filling so much of your vision that your eyes are adjusted to it.
It's also a case of the entire room is bright.
Yeah,
because of the fact of
like
I've got that.
In the shop here, there is a lot of brightness. There are bright ceiling lights. There is bright studio lights. The monitors are all on 100%, and I'm fine with that. However, at home, I would find that incredibly uncomfortable because my living room at home is obviously not this bright.
Yeah.
So bright monitors in a darker room would be completely eye-watering.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, when your monitor is 47 inches, you know, that's basically your entire vision anyway. So
yeah. One thing I will say though is that Doom Eternal's HDR implementation is sufficiently bright for it to be uncomfortable on that setup.
HDR was, just to quickly cut in for a moment, is the reason why I say having backlight strobing halves the brightness of your monitor. The problem with that means is that the monitor that's supposed to be HDR capable actually isn't HDR capable.
I mean, it also isn't actually HDR capable anyway.
Well, bad HDR, but it's, you know, like on my monitors, they support HDR, but if you want backlight strobing on, the brightness isn't high enough for it to actually have any effect at all.
It
like,
also
not even a bad effect, you know.
It also doesn't have the contrast for it either.
Yeah.
Because you don't have any sort of local dimming.
So that's why it's an issue that you lose that brightness. So it's just like, like I don't run monitors at high brightness at home anyway, so that wouldn't bother me, but it does mean that I couldn't try out the HDR even if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So,
but just, it's a case of, yes, it is sufficiently bright and sufficiently flashy that it can be uncomfortable when it's like cranked up to the max.
Yeah.
So it's just a case of, it's like, that is a thing that I can understand people saying. But then again, I'm playing on a 55-inch screen at, 1.1 meters?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think, this is an interesting thing. It looks like 32-inch monitors are going to be the next big thing. And part of me is just like, I'm not sure we need them. Unless you want to go single, I suppose 32-inch 4K makes sense as a single monitor on a desk, because that gives you that single big screen without having to buy a TV. But also a very concerning pattern that seems to be emerging is I think all of the low-end 32-inch monitors are going to be 1440p, and the pixel density sucks.
That's 1440p at 30 inches. Effectively, it's 2560 1600 at 30 inches, which gives you a higher.
That's 30, not 32.
Oh yeah, but that gives you a higher pixels per inch than 24-inch 1080p.
Yes, only just because it's 30, not 32.
Yeah,
32 give. Oh well,
no. It's like 10. It's 10 pixels per inch higher, which is surprising.
Yeah.
So it's
fair enough.
It's not great, but also a case of it's nowhere near as bad as 1080p at 27 inches.
Yes, yeah. I think my other concern is just the annoyance that pixel densities are not increasing.
Yeah.
And it feels like they should be.
Yeah. The problem is, though, for them to be increasing in the way that we'd want them to, we'd need 4K at 24 inches.
Yeah.
6 point something ish K
and everything would be impossible
at 27 inches.
Yeah.
And then at 30 inches, we'd need 8K. Or 32 inches, we'd need 8K for it to scale like that to get perfect pixel doubling, because that's the only way that scaling works nicely.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's fair.
So it's kind of a case of by the time you go up to a 55-inch TV, you're at 72,000K. And it's like, yes, I will just
well, not
have Octaway 4090 Ti's, and I can just about drive the Windows UI.
Yeah, I mean, I think for TVs it doesn't matter so much because you're doing media consumption there at that point. But just like because productivity on the desktop is where you want that high pixel density. That's where it actually matters. I don't actually care about 4K gaming because when you're consuming media, it doesn't it's almost imperceptible anyway. However,
the jump from 1080p to 4K at 55 inches on my TV.
Yeah.
So game at 1080p, scale to full screen, and then 4K.
Yeah.
Is such a big difference.
I mean, on a TV, I
but it's so easily noticeable.
Yeah.
Even from 1440p, it's easily noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And playing at that size is really making me notice how terrible most anti-aliasing options are in games, and just how they don't actually work.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
This was a problem we started fixing in 2000, and we had super sampling SSMA, which fixed the problem but was prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
And then we went, I know, let's use fast approximate methods of multi-sampling that don't actually work very well. And it's just kind of...
Yeah.
I would still like the option to have SMAA on basically everything.
Yes. I think they should always add the options in no matter how expensive they are, because that gives you the ultra settings options, which, as you are a great champion of, ultra settings should be impossible to do on current gen hardware.
Ultra settings exist for the 0.1% of people who buy a 3090 Ti.
Yeah, or for when your game is now 5 years old and can run on anything.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and it's a case of no one should expect to be able to run Ultra unless they're buying a brand new, £4,000 gaming machine every generation.
Yeah. Halo settings for Halo products.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's the YouTube issue where YouTube has taught everyone that YouTube is telling everyone that they are supposed to own a 3090.
Yeah.
So, very well. All right, let's new topic. I did see. I'm going to scroll back a little bit because I did see a question that I was going to roll back to, and then we went on by. Oh yeah. We'll quickly cover this one just so I've answered a question from the chat because sorry, I'm being very neglectful of chat today. You get one, and this is it, everyone. Sleepwalker asked about an hour ago. Graham, on this week's video, you commented on the state of the person's laptop, dirt, etc. It's a bugbear of yours. Is it common for you to see laptops in this dirty state? Yes. Next question.
Yeah, just all of them.
Yeah.
You can pick up.
Let me just go and get just a laptop that came in earlier
If you were to guess and say that you had 100 laptops in here, I would state that only one of them would you pick up and go, oh yeah, this is clean.
Yeah. Actually, can you switch to Benchcam?
I can. You are now on Benchcam.
Cool. Can we see the dirt? Is it visible?
You can see the corner is grubby and dented.
Grubby, dented. This is just a MacBook Air that came in today.
You can see the giant smudge under the MacBook Air logo.
Yep.
Or text mark.
Yep. It's not coming up as much as it would do, but this thing is filthy. The screen is a mess and filthy and fingerprints. I could probably get this person's fingerprint off of this screen and unlock their phone with it. It's This is just a laptop that is that's coming today. So that's just an example. That's a single example.
Yeah. And it's pretty awful.
Yeah. So and that is what most laptops that come in are not quite that filthy, but certainly I want to clean every single laptop that hits the bench. Cleaning the laptop is the standard thing that I have to do with every laptop.
I love that you say that one's not that, they're not often that bad. And I'm like, that to me looked like a reasonably clean general public laptop.
Yeah. It's it's real common, and now a lot of people, the comments are savage toward the clients about this, and so here's my opinion. The first things first. in defense of the clients, a lot of clients, they don't know how to clean their computer. They don't know if they can just spritz it or wipe it down with a damp cloth because they're like, oh, water computer bad, right? How do I clean it then? So a lot
With a dry cloth?
Well, yeah, maybe. That's the thing. They haven't thought that through, though.
Don't smear your boogers on it?
A lot of people don't know how to clean their computer, so that's why it's dirty, because they don't know how to approach that. And I do get a reasonable number of people where they bring it in, I look at it and they're like, oh, sorry, it's dirty. And I'm like, that's all right, I'll clean it up for you, that's part of the service. And they're like, oh, thank you very much, I wasn't sure how to do it. So no problem. Not everyone knows how to clean their computer, that's fine. And usually what I say to them at the time, I say, yeah, sure, I'll clean it for you. I use ordinary household window cleaner and a microfiber cloth, both of which you can buy from Tesco across the street. You don't need any fancy stuff, doesn't need to be super expensive fancy cleaning stuff. And they go, cool, good to know.
And genuinely, in super limited testing, Tesco sell the best microfiber cloths I've found.
Fair enough.
And it's like, okay, random high street shop, microfiber cloth, good, and it doesn't streak everywhere.
Then also, before I continue, Chunky Chunk just said, oh, Graham, after you picked up that dirty laptop, you rubbed your face and eyes. I did. A lot of people go, there's also lots of comments of people going, oh, you don't wear gloves, and the dust, that's dead skin cells. You got to have a bit of dirt in your life. Like, don't get me wrong. I wash my hands after I go to the bathroom,
And before eating.
That's right. However, a little bit of dirt won't kill you and will probably make you a bit healthier. I am clean as much as I would be expected to be so. However, like a bit of dust, a bit of dirt, it's not going to kill you. You'll be fine, So yeah. Anyway.
I'm pleased to see that we have just gone live.
Thank you. So yeah. So going back to it. Now, against the customers, though, my biggest beef with customers and dirty laptops are the ones who don't see the problem. Now, case in point, I had one lady who came in with a MacBook Pro, I think it was, £1,500 laptop. It's filthy. It's covered in just mud smears and all sorts. And, and it wasn't working properly. And I was just like, look, ma'am, you've got to take better care of this. This is a luxury brand laptop. And it's filthy. This dirt and grime will damage the laptop. It gets into the keyboard and kills the keyboard. It gets onto the motherboard and it clogs up the cooling system. You need to take better care of it. And if you're unable to do that, I can do that for you. You've got to get it serviced. And she's just like, I live in a house with dogs. Things get dirty. And I'm like, are your dinner plates look like that? Your knives and forks covered in mud? Don't give me that. Don't give me that.
You know what I'm instantly thinking of, though, when you say that?
What?
With the laptop, with the passwords written on the laptop.
Yeah. A long time ago, I fixed a laptop for a friend's shop, and the laptop was covered in Sharpie writing. And I cleaned the laptop because that's what I did, and I just cleaned it all off. And because it was bank details, passwords, phone numbers, and I cleaned that all off. And I think I just erased all. That was how they were remembering all their passwords. It was just Sharpied onto their MacBook Pro, a £1,500 laptop,
and covered in dog slobber.
So yeah, so that's the thing with dirty laptops. Some people, it's just because they don't know how to approach cleaning their computer. They know it's a problem. They just don't know how to solve it. And I am the person to come to solve it for them. It's kind of like, it comes in and you're like, oh, this needs servicing. They're like, well, yes, that's why I'm here. You are a person who services laptop. Please service my laptop. That's fine. But what bothers me is the people who just don't see it as a problem, who don't look at that laptop and go, that's kind of gross. Maybe I shouldn't be using this, So, yeah. So that covers that.
I like this one from Floorlamp.
Floorlamp says, I have one customer that comes in every 2 months or so and somehow manages to always fill up the entire laptop with sand. I'm not sure how much you're joking. Like, I do this job as well. Nothing would surprise me. Have I ever refused to sort out a laptop because of the dirt? No, because the problem is I'm worried that if I actually refuse a laptop because it's too dirty, if I actually say to someone, I'm not touching that because it's that grot, they're going to go home, they're going to drown it in water, and it's going to come back as a liquid damaged, horrible, gross laptop. So, however, I will rub it in. I will go in heavy. I will be like, this is gross. Do you understand this? This is literally, I have had laptops where it had with that one, I kind of brushed that off as a dirt is good, you'll be fine, get over it, snowflake kind of thing. However, there are some laptops where I'm just like, I'm legitimately washing my hands the moment I finish touching this, and I will not touch my face after touching this laptop, and that I'm serious with that after I just showed you that one. I was just like, yeah, it's fine, So, yeah. However, I've never refused one because, as I say, I don't think that would achieve anything other than just the fact of it's probably going to come back liquid damage because they've made a bad attempt at trying to fix it. So, yeah. That much being said, I have had friends who've had to deal with laptops that have unpleasant things on them. And so obviously this does raise the question, what would it take for me to actually say no? And I think if there were certain things on laptops, and I'm sure your imaginations can fill in the blanks here, I would probably turn around and be like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not touching that. Please take this out of my shop, So yeah, I probably have limits, but I haven't yet had to hit them.
It's awful.
It was awful. So yeah, Peter McCarthy, thank you very much for the €5 super chat. Peter McCarthy says, what's a good budget for a banging PC without going over the top? Well, this is a bit of a length of string question. However, when people walk into my shop and they say, they look at the gaming PC, excuse me, they look at the gaming PCs I've got set up and they're like, what does one of those cost? So obviously you say a banging PC, well, does that mean high end or does that mean just decent? I'm going to assume just decent. And I usually say to people, I would be budgeting about £1,200. So somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500. And that's going to be probably closer to 1,500 because I'm assuming you're working in euros. So probably closer to 1,500 euros. That's the kind of budget I would be putting on a banging PC that's not over the top. And that's going to get you a decent CPU. It's going to get you a decent graphics card. And you're going to be able to buy the case of your choice, have an all-in-one liquid cooler, some nice RAM, a terabyte or more of storage, decent power supply,
flash storage.
Yeah. That's about what I would expect to pay.
Obviously,
you can tweak the numbers to an infinite degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually say to people, like when people come in and they say, I want to buy a gaming PC, how much money do I need? I usually say, if you want to buy a brand new gaming PC, don't come in here with less than £1,000. We can do you something cheaper, but we're going to have to start cutting corners. We're going to have to start compromising, But if you want the one that you want, don't come in here without 4 figures, kind of thing.
Yeah, because it's like I would be saying something around the case of about £500 tower only is kind of the minimum point that you'd really go for anything where you're calling it a good computer.
Yeah,
certainly where you're expecting to be playing games on it and things like that.
Yeah,
that's kind of the minimum I'd be saying, because that allows you to get a 12400. Is that the i3? Because that's
12100.
12100. Sorry.
12100.
Yeah, that's the i3.
Yeah,
it allows you to get a 12100. It allows you to get a not garbage motherboard.
I mean, what graphics
it allows you to
card
get a
would you get on that,
6600.
Can you get a 6600 in on a 500 quid budget?
200 quid.
Yeah, I mean,
so you could
quid.
just about. Oh no, so about
£600.
£600 you'd be looking at sort of thing for that. But then a case of, I'm saying, like minimum £500.
Yeah.
But it's a case of you have to start.
So let's say you buy a cheap ass case, which is 50 quid. So 50 quid for a case.
Yeah.
You buy the power supply. You could get a decent power supply for 40 quid. Let's say 50, just because it's a nice round number. So £100 for a case and a power supply that's not utter garbage. you know, that's actually viable kind of thing, not a tin box. So £100 for the case and the thing. 12100F is what, 80 quid, 90 quid?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, so let's call it £80 for even numbers. So 180.
Yeah.
Are you? Can you bring up a calculator?
I can if it would unlock. Yes.
Yeah, the under-screen fingerprint readers are garbage, man. I hate it. Anyway, so yeah, 180. So then you're going to need some RAM on that. Let's say we're doing a DDR4 system because 12100F. So motherboard, what, £50?
Yeah, call it, I don't know, maybe 60 to give you a little bit of flexibility.
Let's say 60 to be
there.
safe then. So yeah, plus 60.
Yeah.
You can probably get 16 gigs of DDR4 for what, £50?
Yeah, 50, 60 quid.
Yeah, let's say 50. We'll be generous here and mean elsewhere. You need, we've got power supply, you need a 1 terabyte SSD. No point in coming in without that, basically.
£75?
Let's say 75. You could probably do better than that, but let's say 75. Then you need, what else do you need?
A GPU of some kind.
Oh yeah, GPU. So yeah, we reckon 6600 for what?
About 200?
Can you do 200? Yeah, so that's 565.
I think the 6600's about 200.
Isn't the 6600? Yeah, you could probably go for a 6600. Oh, 6600 XT. That's going to be
That's probably going to be 300.
Yeah. So that would be with the 6600, which again is just.
Which is
it's also fine.
That's also pretty good for 1080p.
Is it?
So small than 60 FPS.
Oh, okay. I thought the 6600 was a bit of a damp flannel, and you need. Oh, that's the 6500. I'm thinking
XT,
of.
yeah.
Yeah. 6600 non-XT then. Yeah.
So yeah, you're not bad. Give me 2 seconds.
So yeah, you could actually do quite a lot with 600 quid now that the graphics card prices are fixed.
Now that they're actually somewhat not utterly ridiculous.
Yeah. Like 6 months ago, you know, I'd have last you out the shop for that. But no, actually 600 quid is actually doable.
Just about, yeah.
And then obviously it can scale up from there. So let's say...
Oh no, oh god, the 6600s are 320 quid.
Oh, lol, never mind. So yeah, in that case 700 then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually... So 700 is your minimum viable gaming PC, assuming that you're using new parts.
Yeah.
You know, because I know someone in the chat's probably already said, oh, you can get second-hand parts. Assuming all new parts, because second-hand is a different category.
Yeah, 330 quid. Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay.
I thought they'd come down further than that.
Yeah, so 700 quid is minimum viable then. And then as soon as you say, okay, well, I want a 6600 XT or a 3060 Ti or something like that, that's going to be 800. And then if you want a higher end CPU, so you want the i5 or a Ryzen 5 in there, that's going to be 900. So you can very quickly see that you're hitting 900 or a grand immediately.
Well, yeah, 3060 Ti is £500 on its own.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you get the 6600 XT in that case, because that's almost as good for like 150 less.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, the 6650 XT.
Yeah. So minimum viable is 700. A banging PC, a grand, 1100 plus. So yeah. That would be that's my immediate take on that. Yeah. Floor Lamp says, we certainly have some devices where they tell the customers they have to buy a cleaning service in addition to whatever else they need. That's interesting. You actually charge to clean it. Yeah, I think that's quite reasonable, actually. That sounds like a good compromise when something comes in that's really gross and you want to punish the customer for that somehow, because otherwise they don't learn anything. And yeah, that's actually a good idea. I'm actually going to do that. The next time I get something that's really gross, I'm actually going to say, we will charge a cleaning fee on this, otherwise we won't fix it. And just deal with it. Because yeah, as I say, it's like, I don't mind cleaning laptops. If anything, I quite enjoy cleaning laptops. It's very therapeutic, as far as I'm concerned. I like making dirty things clean again. However, there are some laptops where I'm just like, as I do it, you know. So, rubber gloves, indeed.
And party pants.
Yeah. Right. So, crashing down to the bottom of the chat and quickly scanning through the chat. Let's see. Wayne's new build was about £2,000. Yeah, it's not difficult to spend £2,000. That can certainly be done. Marcel asks, how's the 150k video coming? Next question. Customers' laziness shouldn't be rewarded. Exactly that. Dunk it in the ultrasonic cleaner. Yeah. I can't put a whole laptop in the ultrasonic cleaner. I'm fairly certain I can't do that anyway. I should charge danger money for cleaning a PC out. Yeah.
Where's the...
Yeah. Doesn't cheap create its own problems? Well, when, like I say, when we said minimum viable there, that minimum viable means that's the lowest we would go that we still think would give a decent gaming performance. That's something that would give, that's something where we would sit in front of that and be like, yeah, this is a good computer. Whereas as soon as you start going into the realms of we put a Pentium Gold in there and that's my point. You went for the Pentium Gold and you went for 8 gigs of RAM. If you do all of that, you could probably get down to 400 or 500 quid. But also, you'd immediately want to upgrade it, which means it wasn't viable in the first place. So yeah, we are on live chat.
Price lowest to highest. Oh. There are a couple of RX 6600s for sub £300. That's not terrible.
Okay, yeah.
That makes that somewhat more viable.
Yeah, so if you actually sat down and crunched the numbers and really hunted down every last bargain and ordered it from a half dozen other places, you could probably get it down a bit lower. But yeah.
I'm very quickly looking for a case that's about 50 quid that doesn't look terrible. That'll do. P300A mesh.
Is that 50 quid?
It's like £59.
Okay, yes.
So it's close enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then I want...
I'm a little bit sad. I've recently seen 2 Deepcool MA Cube cases that look really nice, but the airflow on both of them was rubbish. I was very sad about it.
Wait, what? You can get a Corsair RMX... Oh, 550. Never mind. For £45.
That's reasonable. Although, you just wouldn't put a 550 in a high-end machine these days. And if it's not high-end, then why are you putting an RM in it?
Total cost £641.31.
Yeah.
This is minimum pricing for basically
Paul Daniels, look, I've got an itchy eye. It's not pink eye. I'm just itching my eyes because I'm always tired. Shut up.
So yeah. 12100F and Asus Prime H610MK.
Yum.
Which is awful, but that's the only motherboard less than £80 that's compatible.
Okay, yeah.
Patriot
700's really pushing it then, isn't it?
Yeah, Patriot Viper Steel 3200 CL16 books it £4 to go from green PCB 2133.
Sure.
So I was like,
yeah,
I think I can find £4.
Yeah.
Crucial P2 1TB, a Power Color RX 6600, Fantex Eclipse P300A mesh, and a Corsair RM550X. There's your guide for 650 quid.
650, really?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. Okay, fair enough then. Yeah.
So you chuck another £50 a budget in that.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So yes,
it would go on the motherboard.
Yes.
And you'd get basically nothing for it.
Yeah, but at least you wouldn't be using a terrible motherboard. Yeah. So yeah, so a £700 gaming PC is 100% viable. I might build something like that very soon because where it depends if the NZXT actually goes. Because
you still have 3 other computers to sell.
Yeah, or the reason why I say I thought the NZXT was going to go this week. However, the customer who was expressing great interest in it, and I thought I had a done deal on that, they haven't gotten back to me, which I'm a bit sad about because they came in and they were looking for something. Their budget was low, and I was like, I could swing this for that amount because I want to get rid of it. And they were like, cool, we'll get back to you tomorrow. And then they called up 2 days later saying, oh, we haven't forgotten about you, we'll get back to you. And they still haven't gotten back to me. So it's a case of, I don't think this deal is dead, but you're not getting back to me. So
yeah.
Suffice to say, if someone comes in on Tuesday and wants to buy it, I will sell it to them instead. And say to the other people, well, you didn't buy it, However, yeah, if that sells, I might try and do another cheapest viable brand new rig. Because I did have one in. We had the 12100 in.
You've got a GPU in anyway, haven't you?
No, I don't have any new GPUs.
I thought you still had another 6600 XT.
No, they're all sold. The last 6600 XT is in the Corsair.
Okay.
So yeah, because I was selling them all off because I was sensing, I was like, they're going to come down soon. I don't know when, but soon.
Yeah.
And I have shifted them just in time. Like that 6600 XT, I'm more, as part of the build it's in, I'm more or less going to be selling that at probably slightly below cost just to shift it at this point, just because I want that computer sold. However, I did actually play the game very shrewdly. I think the only problem now is that I've got two 1060 6 gig cards that I paid £200 for a piece in stock, and those are probably worth 120 now. Don't know, Chris, what's the value of a 1060 6 gig these days? So yeah. So yes. Right. Let's see. What else is going on in chat? Adam Williams says, have you seen the prices for decent cases these days, and they don't even come with fans? Yeah, the good cases are a lot more expensive. You do tend to pay for the brand.
But you're also going to be replacing almost all of those fans anyway in a lot of computers.
It depends. There was a really interesting situation that came up recently.
I don't know.
Yeah, really interesting situation that came up recently was there was that chap in the Discord who was looking at Corsair 4000 X's, and he was asking whether he should buy the one. He said, I bought the Corsair 4000 Q, the one with the glass front panel.
X.
Oh, that was the X, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
The 4000X, and it's a 4000D Airflow.
4000D for the Airflow one, yeah. So he bought the 4000X that had the glass side panel and the LED fans, and everyone's just like, you fool, you should have bought the Airflow. And he said, I did. I bought the Airflow front panel for it separately, which means he's bought the case, bought the front Airflow panel separately, and gotten the LED fans for free. Or for less than it would have cost to buy it all separately. And I was like, that's a really smart move. But one of the reasons why Corsair cases often come with no fans is that if you buy the Corsair case and then you buy a Corsair RGB water cooler, that's going to come with fans anyway. So that's their theory. But then the price doesn't reflect the fact that it doesn't come with fans. So,
but also the fact of, have you seen the price of shipping stuff internationally recently?
Yeah.
It still hasn't recovered.
Yeah, but then on the flip side, by that argument, if the cost is in the case, not the fans, if the cost is in the shipping, not in the material value of the goods, surely they could stick some fans in the case, and that wouldn't make it meaningfully more expensive.
Sure, but if you can take that out, save $3, that's $3 more of the shipping cost you don't have to pass on. So it's kind of, I'm not saying that the prices haven't gotten worse. I'm just saying that, again, it's also a case of a lot of stuff isn't back to where it was, and also the fact that we've got 13% inflation.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that as a defense of the pricing specifically, but a case of if your energy price goes up by threefold, your cost has to go up.
Then. Yeah.
And it's kind of a case of lots of these things, and it's just kind of like...
Yeah, certainly there's definitely creep. Like, it used to be that you could get a decent case for £80, £100 tops.
Yeah.
Now it definitely feels like the case that you want is probably going to be between 100 and 130.
Yeah.
And that's a 40 or 50 quid increase. So that's that doesn't look like much, but actually kind of is a reasonable amount. On the flip side, though, there are some really nice new cases out and about at the moment. I'm really glad that Fractal are actually putting out cases that people want to buy now.
The problem, we're just on the release cycle now where Fractal releases the same case but in 94 sizes.
Yes. However, at least they've got a nice design, whereas all the previous ones were just all solid side panels and very expensive for just a black box.
Yeah.
Whereas now at least they've got some expensive boxes that actually look pretty and have airflow. So it's nice to see that.
Pop?
Yeah, the Fractal Pop, and
They're
they've got
not
another
at
one
least
that's not
at
the
least
Pop
they're
as well, I
not
think.
too expensive.
Yeah, I think the Fractal
Yeah.
Pop is actually the Fractal Pop is like £80.
Yeah.
And it looks really nice. I really want a
Yeah,
Fractal
that's
Pop.
not bad.
Yeah, like the next time I build a PC for the shop, I'm probably going to do it in a Fractal Pop because I think that looks like a really fun case. I really like it. I haven't read the reviews. I've just seen pictures of it and been like, that looks nice.
Yeah.
And I saw that it was about £80 or £90. I think it's like
Yeah.
£80, 90 if you get an RGB version, something
Yeah.
like that. And I was like, yeah, I like it. That looks
Yeah.
cool.
If I remember correctly, GN liked it. Airflow isn't terrible.
Yeah.
Build quality is good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it ticks the boxes from a mechanics point of view as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Just as a quick side note, Chunky Chunk says, does Windows 11 still have the TPM hardware requirements? Thought they removed that. They didn't remove it. However, what everyone suddenly realized was anything modern actually has firmware TPM already. So if you have an AMD Ryzen 2000 or newer series, it is 2000 or newer, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
2000 series or newer, so 2000, 3000, 5000, you have a feature in the BIOS called FTPM. And if you switch that on, you now have TPM, and it's handled by the CPU. And Intel has an equivalent that's called TPU or something like that. Or,
I can't remember.
Yeah. Intel have an equivalent that, again, is a CPU-integrated software TPM solution. And that just immediately solves the issue. More or less, all of the motherboard manufacturers issued a BIOS update that set this setting to on by default in the BIOS.
And also ensured that Secure Boot was on.
Yeah, and this was the Windows 11 ready BIOS update. Is basically these settings were there the whole time. They were just off by default, and it changed them to on by default. So suddenly everyone's computers were now Windows 11 compliant. You can run 11 on non-compliant hardware, but you don't have official support. However, most people do actually have official support. They just need to switch the settings in the BIOS for it. So yeah.
The Fractal Pop XL, I don't know what size that makes it.
Probably quite big, I'd imagine.
It's £137.
That's probably a quote-unquote ETX size case if it's an XL. So yeah, that's probably designed to go toe to toe with like the Lian Li O11 Dynamic kind of thing. It's supposed to be a big cabinet case, kind of like the original Torrent.
Oh, okay.
I would expect that to be the size of the Torrent, or at least the size of the Lian Li.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I thought the Fractal Design Pop Air was the mid ATX one or the M-ATX one. It isn't. It's full ATX. It's just not huge.
They'll probably make a baby micro ATX version of it as well.
Yeah, that's fine. I thought this was the does not support full ATX smaller version.
Yeah.
And I was just going to be like, to get ATX support, I have to spend basically £140.
Yeah.
No thanks.
No, that would be gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, PTT for the Intel one. Platform Trust Technology. Yeah. Oh, and it's PCH integrated. Fair enough. Yeah. So yes. Oh yeah, and as Arnold G pointed out as well, if you do switch on BitLocker, don't forget to back up your keys, and also just back up your data.
Yes. Stick it on your Microsoft account, print it off.
Yeah.
You're reasonably golden.
Yeah.
Also, for the love of God, have recovery set up for your primary email accounts.
Yes.
Seriously. Make sure you've got recovery set up on your primary email accounts. That goes to everyone. And if you change phone number, update it.
Mr. Molex Connect says, cheap system, cheap case, take the extra money and spend it on better components. Yes and no. So I do agree with the sentiment there. However, sometimes it's a matter of you can spend £10 or £20 to get a really nice case, and £10 or £20 won't actually get you any kind of meaningful CPU, RAM, or graphics card upgrade. Yeah. So there is a balance point. I certainly see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because Caradogs is a big believer in shove it in a biscuit tin and put in a big GPU. So yeah. Caradog doesn't care what it looks like, just wants it to go fast. So that's a reasonable stance to take. However, sometimes if you can spend a little bit extra to get a much nicer case. But also there's people like me where I will quite happily compromise a bit of performance to have something in a nice premium case that looks nice, because I want my computer to look nice, which is also a valid option.
It's also a case of just kind of that balance of, if you can spend a £10 more and get a significantly mechanically better case, it might survive you 2 builds. You might be able to actually take everything out of that case in 4 years' time, stick an entire new PC in there, and now your case has cost you £30 per build, as opposed to 60.
Yeah. And also a lot of cheap cases just have zero or bad airflow. So the premium cases and the airflow-oriented cases, they do actually make your computer run cooler, which equals more performance.
Yeah.
So there is an argument to be made that premium cases do contribute to performance.
But it is that thing of going...
very, very sort of condition specific.
Yeah, it's very much that thing of kind of looking and going, am I buying that, generic CIT case for X price, and £20 more gets me a bottom-end Corsair, a bottom-end Fractal kind of thing? Or would that £20 take me from a 6600 to a 6600 XT?
Yeah.
Because I'd certainly take the 6600 XT over the case, because worst comes to worst, they take the side panel off kind of thing. It's ugly, but I've gained 10% actual performance in the using of the machine.
Absolutely.
And if I'm offended by the look of it, I can go and rotate it the other way and go, side panel!
Yep. So, I think this is very much spec dependent. It just depends on what the spec looks like, where your margins are and stuff like that.
Obviously, if you're already looking at spending like £1,500, putting it in a CIT case is a bit silly.
Yeah.
Especially because they tend to focus on small cases. You're going to have difficulty physically fitting the stuff as well. So, it's that thing of kind of that balance.
Bitfinex Nova Mesh, under 50 quid, brilliant airflow. Yeah, sure, fine.
If you can find them in the UK. Because I actually had a look, so I wanted to grab another one.
Yeah, because I know we
couldn't find a single bloody one of them.
I remember we were looking at the Bitfinex Nova Mesh at one point as a really cheap performance case, weren't we? We did a whole bit on the show where we were looking for a decent case that was cheap and passed the wedding test.
Yeah.
And the Bitfinex Nova was actually the wedding test passer.
Yeah.
So
but we just couldn't find UK stock for some reason.
Yeah. That's
hopefully, fingers crossed, that will change over time again.
Yeah. Chris says, ever tried to cable manage in 1 or 2 CIT cases? Yeah, but then on the other hand, if you don't care how it looks, then cable tidying is of no importance to you.
But my airflow.
Cables don't make a difference to airflow. So
I don't know. I feel like they would do when the cables are inside the fans.
Well, but
you've seen some people's builds.
Yeah. But at face value, assuming that it's not jammed into fan blades, spaghetti doesn't actually impede airflow in any meaningful way.
They're just going to trigger.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that Gamers Nexus have actually done a test on that, and I know that Gamers Nexus have said at some point that cable tidying does not have an impact on cooling.
Some of us actually take pride in what we do.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree with you, Chris. I want computers to look pretty. I'm on your side here. However, we must we must also we must not be in echo chambers.
Which is funny because for some reason we've just gained a whole bunch of extra sensitivity on one of the mics and thus started echoing.
Yeah. Hopefully it will. I tell you what, let's restart all the mics. Because all the other mics should be muted on the stream profile.
There we go.
And so when I speak like this, does it sound like there's an echo?
Okay.
Did that work? Did that land? Was that funny? No, I'm stuttering. Oh well. Well, thanks, Mr. Killjoy. I thought it was funny. Anyway.
Oh, Mr. Trick, that was a perfect ad spot.
Oh no, we could have made 10p, or I didn't look to see how much we made on the other one, but yeah.
Do not worry, I will solve the problem.
And now, all the people who have got ad block, I'd like to address you personally. Give me my money. So, yeah.
All right, Linus Sebastian.
I'm joking. It's fine. It's not really a problem. It's not a problem in the slightest. I appreciate you all for being here.
Huh.
Why do you say huh?
Just because floor lamp. We've had 2 very clean-looking Tower PCs in the shop last week, both with symptoms of dying SSDs, both with a huge amount of Ultra DMA CRC errors. Bad SATA cables.
I very rarely see bad SATA cables. They're not unheard of, but I see like a bad one once every 2 years kind of thing. Really, really rare.
Yeah. Apparently someone got an advert for a podcasting microphone.
Which one was it? How much was it?
Don't offer a rucksack. No, it's fine. What you do is you buy like a crumpler, and then you know those iron-on stickers? You just get an iron-on sticker and just go...
Oh my god. I'm going to get the crumpler out the back. We could do a bit...
For actually pushing the video, I don't know what the difference is on view time. Excuse me, specifically. But based off of a couple of things that we had, where we had a couple of videos get way more likes than others, those ones seem to get pushed. So it's possibly the actual number of likes on the video as a ratio still that seems to push live streams.
Start again, because I completely missed all of that.
What is better, YouTube likes or view time of the video? For the live stream, it appears to be likes, not per user watch time average.
Interesting.
That pushes it.
Yeah.
Just because there are a couple of live streams we did where we had about 13 minutes average viewer view time, but had 700 or 800 likes on the video whilst it was streaming.
Yeah.
And it seemed to get pushed a lot further than a video that had 40, 45 minutes average viewer watch time.
Yeah.
But only 100 or so likes on it. So it looks like it might be the like thing.
That makes sense. I mean, if I were designing an algorithm, I would definitely prioritize likes over views, because that's the thing, is you have to remember that actually getting someone to move their mouse over to the thumb up button and say, I like this and I want people to know that I like this, is a surprisingly tall order.
See, you can prove, audience, that you're not lazy by moving your mouse and pressing the thumb up.
Like, I'm never gonna do the whole please hit the thumbs up, ring the bell. I'm never gonna do that, mainly because I can't be bothered and I forget to. I forget to thank my patrons in the videos these days, you know. However,
it's okay. You could talk to them on Discord.
Yeah, maybe. But the point is that you know, it like every now and then I'll watch a video and I'll be like, I really enjoyed that video. I'm going to click the like button on it. And so that is a significantly stronger response than I watched it, kind of thing. So it stands to reason that the thumbs up button is probably the best way of getting a video to gain momentum.
Yeah,
certainly it will be weighted significantly heavier than a view.
Yeah,
I would say.
I think so for live streams. It's the thumb uppiness as opposed to watch time. But I think on pre-recorded videos, it's slightly more weighted towards the watch time.
Yeah.
Just because the watch time seems to be what's sold to advertisers.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because you need to reach a certain watch time per viewer for the view count to go up. And it's the view count that is then sold to advertisers. So I'd imagine that at least hitting the minimum
It's really complicated though,
View
because
time.
what about the VOD? You know, after the live stream has ended and it is now a VOD, does it then become just recorded content?
I don't think so.
Mm.
But also a case of we don't get enough VOD views to be able to distill any data from it.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone who actually cares about the podcast comes to watch it live anyway. I mean, shout out to the people who watch the VOD, by the way. I know you're out there.
Yeah, like the guy who was in the Discord
Click
saying,
that like button and leave a comment if you're watching the VOD. So, yeah. I'm just waiting for all the people to come in and be like, I'm watching the VOD right now. And I'm like, so,
damn it!
Marcel gives us a €10 super chat for all the Adblock stuff. Thank you very much, Marcel. I wasn't joking when I said no beef toward Adblock people. I don't care. Yeah, I use Adblock, and I don't have YouTube Premium. You know,
the only reason I don't have YouTube Premium is I refuse to pay for it twice.
Agreed. I pay
because
for YouTube Music.
Because YouTube Music comes up as a YouTube Premium subscription on my account, but doesn't give me YouTube Premium.
If they rolled YouTube Premium and YouTube Music into one payment without doubling the cost of it, I'd buy it like that. I'd pay another £2 extra on top of what I'm already paying for it to include both.
Yeah, you know, maybe. I don't know.
But yeah. Although I can't remember how much is Google Music these days, or YouTube.
Well, I pay
Music?
£7.
£7? Is it that much?
I pay £7. I think the normal rate's $13.99.
Check it out. If I'm paying that much, then I'm doing something wrong. I would not have willingly paid that much for YouTube. I thought I was paying like £4 or £5 a month for it. Yeah. Bloody hell! I need to check that now. Anyway, thank you very much, Marcel. I much appreciate it. Also, I got this crumpler bag out that was in the back room, so we could do a gag about here's the Adamant IT bag. It's really high quality. What happens is you give me £200, and then I go and buy a crumpler bag and send it to you.
With an ironed-on Adamant IT logo.
Because crumpler bags are really good. But there it is. Although, interestingly, I do want to say... this came up in the Discord. You know, people were talking about the LTT backpack and the warranty and stuff like that. And I said, you know, I've heard that the warranty is just complete smoke and hot air. You know, what's the deal with that? And the warranty on the LTT backpack is basically, it is a DOA warranty. It does not cover wear and tear whatsoever. It makes no mention of failure, of unreasonable failure. So like the backpack is a week old and the strap has come off through no significant hard use, which would be a case of, well, that was pretty crap then, wasn't it? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
That is not covered by the warranty. So the warranty is basically, you know, everyone's going to like, the warranty is crap, it's garbage, it doesn't cover anything.
Yeah.
Well, Crumpler are a very prestigious bag brand. They've been making premium bags for a long time. These are genuinely really good bags. Their warranty is exactly the same. It's 5 years, doesn't cover wear and tear. However...
Well, no warranty will cover wear and tear.
Precisely. And this is what I then said in the Discord. Because the thing is you can't prove that any damage to the bag did not happen due to misuse. It's really difficult to prove that. However... in the actual terms and conditions of Crumpler's warranty, I'm not sponsored, by the way. This is just a comparison that I was drawing. I was like, well, what do other people offer then?
Yeah.
You know, in their things, they say you can send. They say in the event of a problem, send pictures of the damage, and we will look at the pictures and consider what is involved in repairing it. Yeah. Implying, if they look at that and they go, this bag has clearly failed due to a defect, they will then offer a repair. They don't say that, but what that's implying, send us pictures, we'll have a look, kind of thing. And that is what is missing from the LTT warranty, which I think is a big bummer, because that's what Trust Me Bro actually means. Is send us a picture, we'll have a look, and if we look at that and be like, yeah, we'll replace that for you, then we will. But the problem is that the warranty they've actually put out doesn't express that.
Yeah.
So now they're getting smashed for that, and it's just like, at this point, you know, the warranty they've put out is actually very reasonable, because you can't do a reasonable bag warranty. Yeah. But again, they've just phrased it and handled it so terribly that the optics are awful.
Yeah. it is a situation they cannot win.
Yeah.
Which is why, to
But
a degree,
but also they haven't helped themselves along the
no.
way.
Oh no, absolutely. And I am not in any way attempting to defend their position. Simply make the statement of they cannot win this situation. Therefore, the only solution is to retreat.
Yeah.
And to come back in a couple of months' time when everyone's moved on and go, here's the version 1.1 of the warranty. And it's exactly the same warranty, it's just using different words.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people will just kind of go, oh, isn't it lovely?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But also I think that this is kind of the problem that I have with both the bag and the screwdriver, is that they've put in a huge amount of time and money and R&D into making the perfect bag and the perfect screwdriver. And there's not a doubt in my mind that the screwdriver and the bag are really good. I think they probably are really good. But the problem is, you know, you can already buy a Wera screwdriver, which has all of the features of the LTT screwdriver and will be a really good screwdriver because it's Wera and is half the price.
Yeah.
And Crumpler already exists if you want really good bags. And I think a Crumpler is probably half the price as well. And this is kind of the problem, is that the product already exists. And now you could say the same thing, well, a T-shirt already exists. Yeah, but a T-shirt with the LTT designs on it doesn't already exist. However, a screwdriver and a bag, it's still a screwdriver and a bag. You know, yeah, it might say LTT on the side, but that's not any real unique design per se. So I think this is why it becomes increasingly difficult to defend these products, because there are other products that exist that are just as good and half the price. If you want a premium bag, if you want a premium screwdriver, they already exist. Really good premium T-shirts, really good premium clothing is actually quite tricky to find. So I'm sure they use really nice blends for their T-shirt.
Yeah.
That's not easy to find, especially not easy to find with cool gamer designs on them. So that makes sense. But the screwdriver and the backpack, I feel like this is a product that already exists.
But does it exist with your favorite fashion house logo on it?
Yeah. That's the only thing it's got going for it at that point. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to, you know, if someone rocks up with an LTT backpack, I wouldn't mock them for it. I wouldn't be like, you fool, kind of thing. I'd be like, oh, cool, it's an LTT backpack. You've got the thing.
However, the time we spotted an LTT water bottle.
Yeah,
out in public.
Yeah, that's right. Well, did a chap come into the shop with one?
No, it was in Tesco.
Oh, that's right. It was just in Tesco. Just someone just had one. Yeah.
It was on a pallet or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
yeah,
huh.
that's right. That's where we saw it. Yeah, I just saw it and we're just like, oh look, it's an LTT water bottle. Someone bought one.
Yeah.
In the UK, that is, you know, so obviously it had to be shipped from.
There are dozens of us.
Yes.
Dozens.
But yeah, so it's cool.
Yeah.
However, my point though is that I have no incentive to buy these products because I know I can buy something that is just as good from another premium manufacturer for less. And you know, if I rock up with a Wera screwdriver, that looks cool as well. And to be honest, I probably think someone is cooler when they pull out Wera screwdrivers than if they pulled out an LTT screwdriver, because I'm like, Wera, best screwdrivers you can buy, you know, in my opinion, in my professional opinion, I might add. But yeah, tell us how it is, Adam. Yeah. Anyway,
play that song again, Sam.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Again, I want to finish this off with, I like LTT generally speaking. I criticize them because I like them and I want them to be the best they can be.
Yeah, I've gone significantly off of them.
I have to admit, recently there's been a lot of stuff from them that I have not liked. However, you know, it's been a case of, come on LTT, I'm trying to like you, I'm doing my best here.
Yeah.
But it's really not difficult to build a case against them. So
yeah,
they're at a I feel like they're at a crossroads where they need to they're on a ride downhill at full tilt, bouncing over rocks, and it's like, you got to get that ride under control, man, because if you get this wrong, it's going to go. You need to get a hold of the wheel because you're on a hell of a ride right now.
And it's a case that I think that I think the point with that possibly I'd want to make is that I hope that I would be more open to one of my longest work colleagues coming to me and going, "What?
Yeah.
Are you sure?"
Yeah.
That I think is, from my personal point of view, is a case of I would hope that I would take that with significant weight.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've not been in that situation, so I can't say that I have.
I assume you're referring to Luke's reaction to the bag situation.
To all of it condensed into the
Yeah.
bits that we have seen. Kind of that, and just kind of, I hope my reaction would be more reserved if I had that response.
Yeah. Yes. However, I do agree with Gate Computing enough on LTT, because they have come up a lot. They come up a lot because there's a lot to talk about surrounding them right now.
Yeah.
You know, they are very big in the tech space. They review lots of stuff, and they are big in the tech space. So that's why they come up in conversation, because there's lots to talk about. And I think they are standing up as an example. They are a very good and prime example of potential situations that can arise. So it's not that we care about LTT per se, but it raises an interesting discussion about the topic in general. Because, you know, when we talk about the merch they're making, this makes me think about, you know, like, I want to make some merch. I'm not going to make it myself. I'm going to go and get a Redbubble store or a Teespring or something like that. You know, however, it gives me ideas, and I can look at this and look at people's reaction to see what people are willing to pay for, what they're not, what they like, what they don't like, what elicits a reaction. And that helps me understand what kinds of things that I might want to make, and what kind of things I might think are a good idea, but I can see from the way that LTT have behaved was probably not a good idea, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah. However, past that, enough with the bashing. Yeah, as I say, not trying to bash per se. It's a discussion point. So yeah. However,
which is yeah, and with that is a case of not explicitly bashing any of the people involved. Is why kind of I want to make it relevant to me, to you, to what we would do.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, because I think that's slightly more interesting, possibly.
Exactly that.
Presuming that you, the watcher, cares about us.
Yeah.
The presenter.
I'm not trying to bash, because this is why I said I like LTT as a whole. You know, these are observations. It's just like we're trying to comment on what we think is going wrong and how we think these problems can be solved.
Yeah.
But let's move on.
Yeah. So absolutely.
What else is going on? Why haven't I got any merch yet? Adamant IT Cider. Oh, I would love to do that just for the lols. I could probably go to somewhere like Badger and say, what would it cost to buy a case of beer with my brand on it,
or just blank bottles?
Yeah, that would be really funny.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, on the other hand, the legal for that would probably be a minefield.
Why? Oh, what if you were actually selling it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could buy it and we could drink it on the show for pimp value. Be like, yeah, this is Adamant IT brand cider. That would be really, really funny.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to sell it. That would be you'd need an alcohol producer license.
No, it'd just be the retail. It'd just be the retailing one.
Fair enough.
Either way, because you aren't producing it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a thirsty Graham. Yes. So yeah, can you sell
Very Graham? Hold on. Abort.
A sculpted Graham bust with ratchet screwdriver and all the bit heads inside it. Not to be confused with the LTT screwdriver.
Hold on, just a bust, and out the bottom comes a shaft for a screwdriver. So it's just.
I was thinking mugs, T-shirts, that kind of thing. Soon TM, because I mean, I think we said this last week, but there is a logo. It exists. I need to contact a person who I've been given the contact details for and say, here is my logo. Can you make me an SVG vectorized version of it?
Ah, cool. You have someone who will vectorize it.
Yeah, Chris mentioned a person.
Sweet.
And DM'd me the details. Oh, it came up during the the game stream. I think that might have been one.
Right. Yeah,
Maybe
I was not involved in this conversation.
Yeah. Either way, yeah. Either way. So I need to contact person to get that vectorized. Once I have an SVG of the logo, I now have branding, and that means I can now just start slapping that on lots of things.
Yeah.
Well, I could probably do it now because I could probably get some T-shirts done just with a 4,000 by 4,000 dimension version of the logo. However, having an SVG just makes everything easier, and it means if anyone asks for it, I can be like, "Here's an SVG."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It also means that it's easier for 3D animation work.
Yes, and that as well.
Just
and yeah.
Because
I can make that generally available, and just if people want to do stuff with it, they can do stuff with it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
just because there were like the little video clips I showed you that the guy made.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which I just were like, these are cool. I don't know what you could use them for specifically, but I'm like, this stuff's cool.
Exactly that. So yeah, and I mean, like, I kind of want someone to make a new intro for the shop. I could make one myself, but I would like someone who can do cool transition effects and stuff like that to make some transitions. But the issue is, if I actually put out a shout out for that and said, someone make me some transitions, half a dozen hands would probably spring up in the audience. However, the first thing they're going to do is, cool, can you send me your logo, please? So I'm going to be like, so that's the problem. All of this has been held up because I don't have decent branding. However, that is now lined up. So as soon as I've got that SVG made, things can actually start moving very, very rapidly.
Yeah,
because,
and
like I say, the first thing I'm going to do is open a Teespring store, which will not that is not the best way to sell merch because you don't get much money out of it. Most of it goes into manufacturing because it's done on a per time basis. However, it's a start, and when I'm selling 100 T-shirts a month, then I can be like, cool, I'm going to go to a printer and have 100 T-shirts printed, and then pay someone a modest sum to ship them for me. And now you're distributing, However, it starts out with a Teespring. I've got a Buildzoid T-shirt. Buildzoid sells his merch through a Teespring. And it works.
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I need to wear it again because this summer has come and gone and I have not worn it. It's just buried in my clothing pile somewhere. But yeah, I got one of his cool T-shirts with the VRM exploding.
Saying about clothing piles, yeah, I need to go through all of my stuff and just bin tons of stuff and just be like, I don't wear this, I don't wear this, I don't wear that.
I feel awful throwing away clothes, but like the last time my mum and my sister were at my flat, they were just like, you have more clothes than I do, Graham, and I'm like, really? I feel bad throwing this stuff out because a lot of it was stuff.
I feel bad throwing out this jumper with holes in the elbows, the thumbs.
A lot of it is stuff that is in good condition and I've barely worn. However, I'm not going to wear it. So yeah, just lob it in the clothing recycling. Anyway, okay, let's see. Chris, you're beneath my mention. New stuff. Nvidia's cutting prices because they've got full storage places of RTX 3000 series. Yeah, it does seem like, well, apparently there seems to be an overstock of GPUs now, which wouldn't surprise me.
I have semi-insider information on this.
Do you want to do this bit? Yep.
Only to tell you that apparently all of the Nvidia stuff up to the 3070 is selling through at the rate of production. There is no oversupply. 3070 Ti and above is where there is oversupply, and that's where the price is being cut. Yeah, which makes sense because the lower end cards will always be the highest sellers, so they won't have difficulty moving that stock. Yeah. Whereas the expensive cards, the only reason why they were moving as fast as they were was because they were all you could get. Like during the height of the GPU shortage, like the 3080s and stuff like that were the most reliably in stock. Well, the 3080 was gone. There was no stock at all for 3080. It never even featured in drops, really, other than the Founders Edition.
Yeah, the Founders Edition at least would hang around for a few hours, maybe half a day before it went out of stock again. In many cases, which is, all things considered, a long time for how dire the situation was. But yeah, that's interesting though. Yeah,
but yeah, but it's a case of it has meant that the 90 equivalent and 80 equivalent tier of product are probably going to be the only one that are going to be released this year, and then the 70 and below we might not even see until the end of next year.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. It's a tricky one. It's a bit of a no-win situation because, we're due for new cards to come out, but the problem is a lot of people are just like, I've only just managed to get hold of the 30 series. Now the new ones are out. We're pissed off about this. And, to a certain extent, it's a case of, I'm sorry, there's nothing that NVIDIA can do about that. They were making them as quick as they could. It's not their fault. There was a worldwide shortage,
Yeah, also a case of it's not explicitly their fault that demand was significantly higher than the supply was.
And also, just because the 40 series exists doesn't mean that the 30 series cards are not stonkingly quick graphics cards, because they still are. I mentioned, I was talking to a chap the other day who came in and was talking about building a new computer, and I said it's a good time to be looking at one because GPU prices have come down, and the AMD Ryzen Zen 4 is about to drop, and even if you don't buy Zen 4 because it's going to cost a bit extra, that means that all the Zen 3 prices are going to come down as well.
Yeah.
So it means, and even though Zen 3 is a generation old, as of today, they're still the fastest desktop consumer CPUs you can buy. So they are entirely viable. So, give it a couple of months for Zen 4 to hit the market. Zen 3 is going to drop in price. It's going to be a really good buy.
Apparently, Zen 3's already stopped being produced.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So the stock on that's going to dry up then, isn't it?
So, but interestingly, apparently it's already stopped being produced.
Fair enough.
And apparently the chipsets stopped being produced a couple of months ago.
Yeah, is Zen 4 on the same lithography as Zen 3?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Presumably they managed to use up all of their space at the fabs then.
Yeah. Well, I presume it's just all of the consumer stuff. They've just gone, we're not making any more consumer stuff, and just funneling every single thing into server.
Yeah. But then obviously, into server, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I was going to say, obviously, if they've bought X amount of fab space with heckin' who's the big foundry?
TSMC.
TSMC, yeah.
Okay.
If they've got X amount of space at TSMC, they've booked that time. They've got to get their money's worth out of it. They're going to produce something there, and they will have, presumably, when they buy that capacity, presumably they're buying that capacity at a specific lithography, because otherwise you've got to retool the foundry.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess technically there's a crossover on node between the actual cores in Zen 3 and the I/O die in Zen 4.
Yeah, because
I guess technically.
Well, but Zen 4's got a whole new I/O die, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same lithography node, technically.
Oh, really? Yeah, because that's still like 12 nanometer or something, isn't it?
It's on... the current ones are on GlobalFoundries 14.
14,
yeah. Which is part of the reason why your Threadripper 5000 uses 100 watts at idle, because the I/O die is
a potato
sat there at 100 watts.
Yeah.
Even if it's doing nothing.
Yeah.
Or like your 64 core server CPUs there at 100 watts idle, because the I/O die is taking most of that.
The cores themselves are on the small one.
Yeah, because it's like I think the actual 64 core for a single thread workload, a single core at a 64 core workload is only something like 2 watts.
Yeah.
So when you're running all of the cores at max capacity, each individual core is actually only at something like 2.5 watts. So it's kind of a case of
adds up.
Yeah, obviously that adds up.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's a case of per core you're actually using very little power, but there's quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then there's all of the Infinity Fabric and I/O die.
Yeah. And that gets super interesting because, of course, that's obviously also the reason why you can get such high single core or few core boost clocks and stuff like that, because if the CPU isn't firing on all cylinders, it's got that much more power. It can funnel into the couple of cores that are actually doing stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You can go up to, I think it's 8 watts per core
Mm.
is the peak power per core.
Yeah.
Something like 8 watts or something.
And
like
if you added that up across all of your cores, you would spiral way over TDP. So yeah. Interesting. Right, cutting off for another super chat. Farron M with the €5. Thank you very much, Farron. Says, thanks for the El Capitan OS certificates video. When we'll see Fume Extractor on your repairs? Greetings from Catalonia, by the way. Adblocker user. Yeah, thank you very much for the €5, my dude. And hello, Catalonia. Not to be confused with Katrina, which I misread that first. Misread that as first. Anyway. Fume Extractor on repairs. Yes, fairly soon. Firstly, I just want to address a thing because I had to say this in a comment recently where someone was just like, "Oh, you know, those fumes are going to be a problem for you in 20 years," kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't sit there huffing the soldering fumes. I don't sit there going, "Oh yes," when I'm soldering. I actually hold my breath while I'm soldering, let the smoke clear, and then release. However,
when filling your car with petrol, though.
No, I don't like the smell of petrol. I hate the smell of petrol. Actually, most, what's the term again? The stuff that's in pens and stuff like that.
Ink.
No, the fumes. What's the smell of the fumes? Someone help me out here.
What?
What's the...
Oh, volatile organic compounds? Vox?
Not quite.
Aromatics?
Solvents. So the smell of solvents. Yeah, there we go.
What's that thing in pens?
Oh, come on. The chat knew what I was talking about. The chat all knew what I was talking about. This is a you problem. Anyway, I don't like the smell of solvents. I don't like the smell of solvents, which obviously is a good thing because it means I don't want to sniff them. So yeah.
I quite like the smell of them, but I've never had a desire to sniff them.
Yeah, okay, so you're not, you don't sit there at the fuel pump going, oh yes, then.
No, but you get the waft and just kind of go, oh yeah, that's reasonably pleasant. It could be dramatically worse.
Yeah, although I will say, I have recently switched to genuine Amtech Flux, which smells really nice. And I'm like, do not smell the forbidden fumes, because it smells really nice. However, do not huff the flux. That's the bad stuff in the soldering fumes. So anyway, I don't.
That sounds like a T-shirt design. Don't huff the flux.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Forbidden smell or something like that. Just Amtech Flux or something. I don't know. There's a design in there somewhere. Actually, there's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah. Don't huff the flux. Now on the back it just says forbidden fumes.
Yeah. Forbidden air freshener. Yeah. And it's just a soldering iron sitting in a puddle of flux. Forbidden air freshener. Yeah. Anyway, where were we? So yeah. Anyway, yeah. However, I am looking to sort out an extractor system. I don't want a big, huge extractor box. I'm going to do a DIY thing. I've got a finger cutter fan here. I've got this massive heckin' Delta Electronics 1.6 amp fan here. That's a proper finger chopper, and I was thinking of wiring this into some kind of extraction system. Get some pipe on the end of that, so the pipe sits up on the desk. This sits in a box on the floor with a couple of filters on it. You know, a carbon filter and maybe a HEPA filter. I think carbon and HEPA will probably be a good combination. Stick those in front of it, and Bob's your uncle. You've got a DIY extraction system, and because that will sit on the floor, it should be reasonably quiet. So yeah, that is the plan there. Flux emissions are not biodegradable; they build up over time in the body tissues. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to watch Paul Daniels' build video. Yeah, I'm guessing he's not about. He's probably gone to bed because he's upside down. But yeah, yes, I did want to watch Paul Daniels' build video on that, so I'm going to go back through his channel and check that out at some point. An extractor system. It's quite a nice one, actually. You know, certainly I don't hear it running. You know, you can very faintly hear it, but it's not. You don't hear a big old wah when it comes on, kind of thing. But I don't know what kind of mic setup he's using. Oh yeah, he's got a Brittany mic, so that would probably cut
No.
most of it out
You can't.
anyway.
I thought you were going to say you can't hear it over the sounds of people burning outside in the heat. The sun! It's a deadly laser.
It's funny because he lives in Australia. Anyway, yeah. So that's about that.
Oh, I spoke to my friend about aircon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For here, and he said that a single unit install they aim at about £1,000.
Yeah, that's really affordable.
And he said,
I'm really frustrated because I've got other things I'd rather spend £1,000 on at the moment, but also that's really good bang for buck.
He also says that if you are currently using electricity for heating, English is hard, that yes, you will see a 75% reduction in the electrical usage.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't suppose if you could ask him if he's got any recommendations for a portable unit that I could put in my flat, because that's where I really need it the most for heating. That is anyway. But I haven't actually looked. I keep forgetting to look at portable units.
His answer will be no.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Do not.
Yeah. I mean, I can't get an installation at my flat for obvious reasons. So yeah. I can't just install aircon in a rented flat.
You having the unit and it's just outside the door and just copper pipes in, and it's just like,
yeah. I suppose you could ghetto it, just have the pipes coming through the window that you've shut on the pipes or something, you know. Like, really, that wouldn't be a terrible solution, all things considered. But yeah, it wouldn't exactly be it would be ghetto as hell, but yeah. Anyway. Right, okay. Going through a couple of other questions that have popped up. It's Yiddy had a couple of questions. Both of them were good, so he gets 2 swings. How often should I change my thermal paste? High-end PC that I use for many hours, now a year old. If it's decent thermal paste, I would not change it unless you have taken the cooler off for some reason. It'll probably last, 3 or 4 years, no problems whatsoever, minimum. Like most thermal pastes, they say 2 to 3 years. However, also, I think they say 2 to 3. Lots of people go, oh, it's dead after 2 to 3 years. What they actually mean is that they've read on the website that it's good for 2 to 3 years, after which there is a perceivable drop in performance. And a perceivable drop could be 10%.
It's also possibly just a case of will last in the tube 2 years.
Yeah.
That could be the actual comment. So a case of you can actually squirt it out after 2 years and it will be
being a puddle.
Thermal paste as opposed to unknown suspicious yellow liquid.
Yeah. The only, certainly when I'm working on other people's computers, I don't change the thermal paste unless I have a reason to. So that means, and that usually means because I think the thermal paste has been baked. Because
it's gone, or you can see the edge of it and it's hard.
Yeah, if you can get to the edge of it this is more appropriate in a laptop where you can usually where the CPU is very exposed, and usually there's a bit of pump out from the paste, and you can just poke that with a screwdriver, and if it's solid, the paste is probably bad. Whereas if you poke it and it's still a paste, the stuff under the CPU is probably fine as well. However, I've done a couple of PS4s in the past week. And I've had a couple of PCs in that have been chock-a-block with dust, like proper carpet dust with the fans going like the clappers. Those will have been running super hot, and the thermal paste would have been baked. And yep, absolutely. As soon as I took the heat sinks off, the thermal paste was hard.
Yeah. The other thing I'd say as well.
Yeah, basically, if there are signs that the computer has been overheating, change the paste. If it's been running fine, the paste is going to be okay.
Also, kind of a case of note down if you do take a mental note of what the temperature was when you freshly installed it and had a decent mount.
Yeah.
And if it goes up from that by an amount that means there's actually a problem, change it.
Yeah. And also running hot and baking the paste. I'm talking about 90 and plus. Up to 80, you're fine. As soon as you hit the high 80s and you're going into the 90s. That's when you're going to start cooking thermal paste over time. So yeah, if your CPU is running up at those ends, which is quite common for laptops and badly cooled systems, then your thermal paste is probably going to get cooked. But for most custom builds, where you're probably sitting at 60 to 70s under load, maybe high 70s if you've got a 5800X or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, your thermal paste is going to be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
it's also kind of a case of, if it's a thing where you clean it out once a year, you could replace it then.
Yeah,
and it's not really going to make a difference.
Yeah,
you know, it's a couple of minutes to wipe off the old stuff, stick some new on there, remount the cooler.
Yeah, it depends what your maintenance routine is.
So yeah,
if you actually take apart your PC when you do maintenance, you could do it anyway.
Yeah.
But you know, if your maintenance is to take the side panel off and just hoover the dust out, it's probably not necessary to do the thermal paste.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. And then also another question you said earlier on, you also said, you mentioned, would I buy the Steam Deck? It's quite expensive for the top end one. I think the top end one is expensive just because of the storage it comes with. You will always pay a premium for storage in mobile devices because that's just what they do. That's how they roll. If I were buying a Steam Deck, I would probably buy the low end one and stick my own SSD in there because it's very easy to do so and it's almost encouraged. So I would buy a low end. I would like a Steam Deck. I don't need one enough to justify buying one, but I think it's a great product. And I think there's a lot of use cases for it. And whenever I see someone on my Twitter feed who's just like, "Oh, I've got a Steam Deck," I'm like, "That's cool. I want one of those." You know, I like the Steam Deck.
I look at it and kind of go, "Yeah, that's cool," but I don't want one.
Yeah, because you don't need it. Kind of.
I have zero use case for it.
Yeah.
There isn't a single situation where I'd be able to play a game.
Yeah.
And have a Steam Deck. Excuse me.
Yeah, agreed.
Because you know, I've got a high-end PC at home.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say about it than that.
Yeah, you know, I've already got the high-end PC. I've got the nice screen, etc., etc. So it's kind of a case of I drive myself as opposed to using public transport.
That's right. If you ride a bus every day,
yeah, I don't go by train to places. I drive to places, stuff like that. So it's a case of my use cases there are restricted. At home, if I have the time to be playing a game, I can just sit on my computer.
Yeah.
If I'm not able to sit at my computer, it's because I'm need to be actively doing something else. So it's a case of, for me, doesn't work, but I like them as a device.
Yeah.
I want to have a use case for it.
Yeah.
Because I want to get one and have a use for it, but I know I have no use for it, so I've not got one.
Yeah, I'm in exactly the same boat, basically, where I like it and I want one, but I don't need one, so I can't justify buying one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I said this a while back when we were talking about the Steam Deck, but one of our friends came in and was talking about it, and he had a really interesting use case for it that I greatly appreciated, and that is, you know, he's got an elderly relative in the house, and he sort of he needs to keep an eye on them during the day, so he can't hide away in his bedroom on his computer. He has to be around the house. So he's getting a Steam Deck, he said it because he has a Switch for this reason, but I think he's looking at the Steam Deck. So this means that he can sit in the living room with a gaming device in his hand, and he can use it in there. So, and it kind of introduced the idea to me that mobile devices aren't just for use away from home. You can be using a mobile device at home if you need to be present and visible in a house because you've got to keep an eye on relatives or something like that. And I thought that was a very interesting use case as well.
Yeah, see, for me, for that, I would, in my situation, I would set it up. So the room that they often were in had a TV in, and I had a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series in there, and I play a full console game.
Yeah, although I think the relative would probably be sitting and watching TV all day because that's what old people do.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, you could have your computer set up on a desk in the corner or something like that.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of a case like that. That's what I would do, and not to invalidate their solution, but just a case of that's what I would do because I have that option.
I'm sorry. Marco says they're great at wakes. That's horrible, and I support you.
You would certainly be making waves.
Okay.
I like this comment from someone saying about I need to get a Tesla with autopilot. I don't think that's an appropriate use of autopilot, is to sit there playing games on a Steam Deck.
Full self-driving is a couple of months away.
However, I fully agree with the statement that I need a Tesla with autopilot.
Next topic. Let's see. Okay, right. I'm going to scroll back. There are a couple that I saw, but I'm going to jump to a previous one from Marcel Lipovsky again. I said, what tool am I looking to buy for the shop? I probably should have thought this before I said I'd answer that question. What tools do I need for the shop at the moment?
Good job.
Let's see. I've got mostly what I need at the moment. I possibly like pipe dream stuff. I'd love to have a more sophisticated thermal camera. I kind of need an oscilloscope, but
An actual good one.
Yeah, but the problem is the times where you actually need an oscilloscope are so rare that it's barely worth buying one unless you have disposable income. It's just now and then they're exactly what you need, but not always. Oh, that's John. Okay, yeah. My friends have just arrived for a gaming weekend.
You have arrived. You have come.
Do you want to see if you can spot something in the chat and answer a question? I'm just going to go and greet John.
Absolutely. I am more than capable of taking over this YouTube stream on the YouTubes. Good afternoon, everyone. You now have me and my undivided attention. A cleaning service. Absolutely. Need a customer person. Yes, exactly. That's the thing that Graham actually needs to buy, not as a tool specifically, but staff. But yes, I feel like how dare you? But no. Spoken about the line of screwdriver, yeah. Yes, there has been much speak of the LTTs. We have been forbade of speaking it more. Some sort of apprentice. Yes, exactly. Some sort of apprenticeship scheme. Almost some sort of government thing. Also, I feel like I should possibly move that to avoid increased crosstalk. Graham needs to up his prices for what it sounds like first. Yes, Graham needs to turn over the laptops and desktops in for repair faster first. English is difficult, apparently. Oh, good heavens. Yes. Teltac and I have been going on at Graham about getting an apprentice for a while. I think even at one point the paperwork was found out and was just like, here, fill in this stuff. I mean, everyone endorses public transport at this time. The difficulty is there is no public transport from my abode to my place of work. Therefore, I cannot public transport. Hello.
Hello.
Are you going to ask him to fix the low?
Yeah.
Whilst you're here.
I am going to, while you're here, my friend who has just shown up to spend time with me as a friend.
How's the chiller? Fixed. No, it is not fixed. I was going to meet up with a friend again who was going to fix it, but I flaked out that night. I was just like, I'm dead. I'm going to go home and sit and stare at a wall.
And consider my existential crises.
And was just like, ugh, and slept the evening away. So yes, I have got a list of parts from them that they think we'll need. It's mostly just copper tubing and linky bits and stuff.
Just out of interest, is this guy the same as the aircon guy?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought as much, but I thought I would just,
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
Yeah. We've done a parts list and we've got a rough idea of kind of what we're going to do.
Yeah. So it's a case of it's not done yet, but the project is alive.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's mostly just going to be a case of actually doing it at some point.
Yeah.
But he's been very busy with jobs and stuff and fitting in
I can
very
imagine
large projects.
A lot of people want aircon right now. He's kind of he's put himself into a very good business right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same one whose other business is solar panel and battery storage.
Oh wow, yeah. It's a hot market,
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's a smart market to move into, Just yeah. I've got a bugbear. Whenever someone saves the coal industry to save all these jobs, I'm just like, maybe those people should be learning how to do their job on renewables. Just saying.
You never know.
Yeah, that's a whole can of worms. But...
Hold on a minute. Where are the people saving the 486DX fixers? Right?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's not an unreasonable...
Who saved the job of the Pentium 1 fixer?
Yeah.
They got a new job fixing Pentium 2s and then Pentium 3s.
Yeah.
And then maybe a Sempron.
Yeah. So it's just like, your mate at the moment, he's gone into, solar panels, battery storage, aircon. That's something that everyone wants right now. So he's gone and got certified for it.
Yeah.
Seems like a smart move to me.
Yes. ZX Spectrum. Hello. Good afternoon. Evening.
Yes.
Time of day. We have found the leak. The leak was in the joint between the hard piping bit and the flexi piping bit. And it was a case of we're just like, yes, that is broken. So we're planning on replacing that tubing section. And then the pressure testing and so on will occur. But it was just a case of we found a big hole in a tube. And we're just like, we should probably stop having a big hole in a tube before we attempt to pressure test.
Yeah. It wasn't worth fixing it in its current condition, though. It was more of a case of, if we're going to fix this, we may as well completely rebuild this into something better.
Yeah, it was also just a case of fixing the tube would have required, because it was a custom hydraulics tube, and it would have required getting a new one of them made up, or we could use some 10mm copper tubing.
Yeah.
Which is dramatically cheaper.
Yes,
I was like, we're going to do that and just reduce the flexibility of the setup, but make it just as usable, but less flexible. And given the fact of it was never going to be set up for a day-lead system anyway, it being flexible and fitting with 1,000,001 cases doesn't actually matter as long as it works with the stuff that it has. If it makes sense, and it works on the setup that it has. And we're going to change it so the motherboard mounts are actually on the top of the case. So the CPU socket...
a test bench.
Yeah, so then the CPU socket is basically in a single fixed location. So then the amount of movement that the head needs to do is maybe 2 or 3 millimeters just to adjust for slightly changing mounting points. And then it only needs to go up and down by a couple of millimeters to clear the RMs.
Yeah. Heck, you can make it so the actual motherboard mounts are on like some arms that move themselves, so you actually position the motherboard under the cooling head.
Yeah, kind of, basically. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Use soft-drawn copper. Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
There we go then.
I like to see that even though I have not fully expressed... There we go! The friend is real. See?
What, were people doubting his existence?
Yes.
They were saying I was making excuses.
Yes, that's the camera.
Right. No. But yeah, there we go, you exist. Yeah. Firephone asked, do we have LED lights in the shop? Yeah, all the lights in the shop are LED. They were actually fitted by my friend John, who's just arrived for a gaming weekend. The patrons and the YouTube members have access to exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, including
all
one...
6 of them.
There is half a dozen of them, at least. Anyway, including the video where we were putting all of the lighting in the shop, getting rid of all the old grotty lights and putting in these nice bright ones that we sit under now. So, yeah. So, yes. Yeah.
But I just like the fact that ZX Spectrum actually knew what I was on about and was like, yes, that makes sense.
Excellent.
Even though I half explained it. So I'm like, clearly it's a somewhat sensible idea.
That is good. That is good. Yeah. Yes, we've got the mixture of people who are just like, hi, John, and the other people who are just like, crawl under the camera next time. Hi, AJ. When the shop tour done, we need to put a date on it. Can you tell me when you can hire the kit for like the Ronin and the stuff? Well, let's not do it. No, I can't do it this weekend.
No. But that's what I'm saying. The
you
time
can have
scale
it at
is
any time.
Yes, I can. Maybe 24 hours.
Yeah.
maybe 48
I think I need you to
on a busy weekend.
Yeah, I think I need you to say, I will have the kit next weekend or this weekend, get ready. So I then have a couple of days to get ready and then do it. Because the problem is, when you actually hired it last time, I can't remember if you actually gave me any meaningful warning for it. But
I told you on the Friday.
Yeah, so no, you didn't give me meaningful warning.
I told you on the Friday that I have the camera rig that I'm thinking of using.
Yeah, see, that was implying that you wanted to test it.
Yeah, exactly. That was the plan.
Okay. Right, I need you to hire it again, but give me a few days' notice so I have time to prepare for it, and then we'll just heckin' do it. So.
The 24th.
What is the 24th? That is, well, that's 1, 2, 3 weeks' time, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sure. Well, probably. DM me this, over the weekend, because there's something I've got. Actually, I think the only thing I've got coming up is just this weekend. I think this weekend is the only busy weekend I had planned. So after this, I should be fine. I've got a wedding coming up in the near future. I need to check when that is.
That's fine. That's on a Monday.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, fine. No problem then. Yeah. Are you at the same wedding?
Yes.
Yes, fair enough.
Assuming we're talking about the same wedding.
Yes, I think we are. Hellkith's wedding. The wedding for Hellkith. The wedding.
Oh yes.
Specific wedding.
My mother's aunt.
Yeah. What is your uncle's sister's name? Yeah. We're getting to really specific jokes that no one is going to understand now. We're just going to sit and laugh at. Right. I think it is time to wrap up because I did want to make this one a short one because my friends are now arriving and we're going to play Age of Empires all weekend. So yeah. And yes. No, Chris, you're not invited.
And Teltac says you need to get better and tell John to beat you.
Yeah, we're better at AoE than we used to be. We should play again sometime, Teltac.
I still feel like the best thing is you should still have the three of you versus Chris.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I want to play with you again at some point, Teltac. I don't know whether I don't know whether we want to do a comp stomp or versus, but either way, I'm a lot better at Age of Empires than I used to be. And while I'm not saying that I can beat you or something like that, but I want to show you that I've gotten better. So I can have your approval, because I need your approval to live. Otherwise, I will be immediately killed. So, you haven't played in a long time. Okay, so you're making the excuses in advance then, just setting the tone. Fair enough. Is Chris a dungeon master? Chris is very good at Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. I know that much. I will, if he wants to come in and be like, well, if you want to know, this is my ranking or something like that, whatever that means, but he's very good at it. I know that much. Anyway.
I can practice if you really want.
That's not necessary, Teltac. I'm just saying, if you want to play Age of Empires with me at some point, we can do that. So yeah. Let's wrap up. Videos this week. I've got a lot lined up, actually. We've got a really good video lined up for Monday, which I'm very happy with. It's a good board repair video on a MacBook Air. And I'm currently in the process of editing a MacBook Pro board repair video that had a couple of cool things in it as well. Nothing mind-blowing, nothing that the pros are going to be wowed by. However, I've got some good videos lined up for Monday and next week as well. And I'm hoping to find something else during the week that I can slot in between them, so there's actually an extra video for once. But yeah, good videos lined up. Stay tuned.
Planning on doing 3 videos this week?
3, no. There's going to be one on Monday. There's going to be one the Monday after that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm booking in advance.
Yeah, sorry. I thought you said there's going to be one then and one then, and then I'm going to stick one in the middle.
Yeah, however, I'm going to try and find another video that I can do for, say, Thursday or Friday of this week or something like that. So there's 2 this week. However, I'm not the one that I've got one that is already uploaded. The next one that I'm editing will be for next week. However, if I can do something between them, I will. If I won't, I've already got 2 weeks lined up anyway. So yeah, or 1 week because it's Monday and then next week. It was going to be 2 weeks of video, but now another week has passed because that's what's
funny how time works.
Exactly. Anyway, that's it. When's the kids' PC video coming? It's slow. I'll get it done. It's not forgotten. I'll get it done. Yeah.
Need to sit and
Yeah.
voice over several hours of footage.
I have to
Which is
script
the
it and
problem.
voice over it and then record a bit and then go, is that good? It's just so far out of my usual workflow. That's why it's
Yeah.
taking ages, because I don't have a workflow for it, you know. It's like I was talking to Paul Daniels because the next video features Flex Board View very heavily, and I was talking to Paul Daniels about it because I wanted to share a preview with him and say, do you have any remarks about this? Anything you want me to adjust to help better reflect, like anything that I missed, which you would want me to point out about the software, you know? And he was, and he said, no, that looks great to me. And he pointed out, he's like, I don't know where you find the time to do the videos, you know? And I said, it's, you know, and I explained my workflow, and just, it was like, it's because the workflow is streamlined hard to make the video editing as fast and simple as possible. And as soon as something is neither fast nor simple, it doesn't get done.
That's not a terrible idea from Farphone.
Maybe you two can comment videos?
Commentate.
Commentate it.
That's not a terrible idea. It's completely out of the workflow, but it means it gets it done.
What, like do it on the podcast or something?
I don't know specifically how we'd do it, but something like that.
I mean, we could. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to think about that right now.
No,
However,
absolutely, but it's not a terrible idea to instantly go, no, that doesn't work. It's just a case of, I wonder how that could
that's not
work.
an awful idea. And like, I am coming around to the fact of there are certain things that I'm not getting involved, that I'm not getting done, that I'm starting to go, anything that I'm struggling to get done, I'll line it up to do it on the podcast. Because A, that gives us stuff to do on the podcast, and B, it'll get done because I've queued it for the podcast. So I could be like, this week we're editing the kids' video. It's going to get bloody done.
Yeah.
We've got 3 hours to edit a video. Let's go, boys, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Hire an editor. Don't have the money for it. I'd lose any money I made.
Charge more for your repairs.
Yeah. Paul was looking for someone to do an intro video to Flexboard. Yeah, well, as I say, he actually said this is probably as good a demonstration of Flexboard View as ever. Like it wasn't a full showcase of Flexboard View. However, I show off some of the big party features of Flexboard View, namely the fact that it has built-in notes and measurements and cheat sheet stuff, and the cross-referencing, where you can just cross-reference between the board view and the schematic on the fly.
Yeah.
So the stuff that you can do, everything that I do in the video can be done without Flexboard View. Flexboard View just makes it really easy, you know.
From the very little I've seen of Flex, it is clearly made by someone who actually uses it.
Yeah, big time.
It's actually the software is written by the person who is using it.
Yeah.
But it's also not made for one person.
Yeah.
Which is that really difficult path to follow.
That's it. So yeah, and it's it's my favorite kind of product as well, because it's a premium product, but again, it's something that is not critical. Like you don't need to buy Flexboard View to do what I'm doing in the video. Flexboard View just makes it easier.
Yeah.
So if you've got money and you want to invest in tools, I definitely recommend buying it. However, if you don't want to spend that money, you don't have to buy it. You can do it without. It'll just take you longer.
Absolutely.
Because there's more back and forth. So yeah. Good.
I have enjoyed this conversation in English.
Yeah. Excellent. Right. Thanks for coming along, everyone. I'll see you next week with something.
With things and stuff.
I too have enjoyed this conversation in English. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you to the Patreons, because I don't thank them enough. See you all soon. Bye.
Goodbye.